Disculpa la presentación en inglés, pero si trato de hablar en español, estaremos aquí todo el día, entonces, inglés. Good morning, my name is Joanna Zimmerman, and I'm the Assistant Director of Education for Humanity at Arizona State University. And I'd like to thank IBSR for inviting me here to talk about our model for providing education to vulnerable populations. And in our case, those vulnerable populations are refugees located in camps and settlements abroad, but some of our strategies can also apply to rural populations in the United States, as well as in other places around the world. So I'll start with a little bit of background about Arizona State for those of us in the room who don't know Arizona State. It's one of the largest research universities in the United States. We have around 800 degree programs. Last year, we had around 73,000 students enrolled in our on-campus programs, as well as 38,000 enrolled in our online programs. So we had just about 111,000 students enrolled across both online and in-person courses in 2018. So you can tell by those numbers that scale is a large priority for the university. The Chief Academic Technology Officer at ASU likes to say that scaling educational programs is really the only way that millions of people around the world are going to get the instruction that they need. And so sometimes in education, we like to think of scaling as the enemy, but it's really our friend. Okay, so you can see that sort of philosophy also applies to our physical presence. We have around 5 campuses in the Phoenix metro area, and we have a couple of strategic locations also in other areas around the country. So you'll see we have a campus in Washington, D.C., as well as one in California. And so we are also thinking about how to create international hubs in other countries around the world, which would help us to collaborate with local faculty and doing joint research, also help us to become a little bit more familiar with the local industry in those areas, and all that to ultimately help us serve our learners more appropriately and with more context. So ASU's commitment to serving populations worldwide as well as non-traditional students really comes from our president, who has always felt that education should be accessible to all. So I would say that this type of philosophy, if I could be so bold as to say, is a little bit uncommon in higher education institutions, at least in the United States. So universities tend to want the elite students, or those students that can perform at really high levels, and we do care about those students too, but we also care about the students who are what we call non-traditional. So perhaps students who have a lot of work and family commitments. Maybe they can't be living on the campus as other students might traditionally do. Maybe they're coming back to school after taking a long hiatus and need to upskill for current or future employment. And so we'd like to think that we are able to serve all of those learners, and I'm going to talk about a few strategies that we have for doing so later on. And this really all goes back to our ability to, our mission, which says that we want to measure our success not by whom we exclude or not by being an elite institution, but rather by including more students and really helping those students to succeed. So having a university president with a really strong vision for accessibility is great for us. So this enables other departments around the university and small initiatives like mine to think creatively about how we're going to include learners that have normally or historically been left behind. So whether that's students who have a lack of resources and can't pay for classes, whether those students weren't able to be accepted to universities because of their low high school grades, or whether their geographic location is inhibiting their ability to enroll in in-person courses, we're thinking always about how to include those students as well. And one large way in which ASU has really thought outside of the box when it comes to accessibility is for its earned admissions program. And so through earned admission, anyone, anywhere can sign up for ASU online courses. And the idea is that you take the course, and if you pass, and only if you pass, you can pay to get the credit converted to ASU credit. And so the cost is quite low in terms of tuition. It's not low for everyone, but I think it's around $350 USD to convert the course to credit. And again, it provides a low stakes sort of entree or on-ramp into university education. So you only pay for the course if you pass it. And so this is sort of an inversion of the model whereby students are enrolled in university paying for the courses regardless of if they pass or fail. And so if you are someone who is a little nervous about returning back to college because it feels very high pressure or high stakes, then this is a great way for you to kind of get back into the university environment and see if it's something that works for you. And so these are just 3 sample courses. I think we have around 20 right now. They're right now categorized as business, engineering, or general studies, but the idea is that over time we'll be able to build these out so that they apply to more degree programs. And so this is the initiative that I work with, Education for Humanity, and we are actually using some of the earned admission courses with refugee learners in various countries abroad. We're right now only working in the Middle East and East Africa, but always hoping to explore new contexts to work as well. And so the model that we pursue is that learners start with our courses that are orientation courses. So it's a set of 4 online modules that are called How to Be a Successful Online Learner. And students are learning digital literacy skills, information literacy skills, how to write an email to a professor if they've never had to do that before in their school experience, how to identify and evaluate valid sources online, among other what we call soft skills that are typically hard to come by in non-traditional school environments. And so they proceed, after doing that orientation, they proceed with a few ASU online courses. And in some cases, in most of our cases, our learners, because they're refugees, don't have their documents. And so it's an opportunity for a local university to see how they're performing in a university course and to see if they can be successful at their university. And so we're simultaneously, as a pilot, trying to build a collaboration agreement with one university in Uganda, whereby students will go through this orientation, they will go through our undergraduate courses, and then they will be able to use that credit and carry it with them as a matriculated student into that local university in Uganda. And so we're still in the collaboration agreement drafting phase, so I'll have to update you to let you know how it goes. One thing to note about those How to Be a Successful online courses is that IBSER is actually partnering with us right now to translate those courses into Spanish. And so this is one way where, these tools that we're providing right now can also be used in secondary school environments or tertiary environments as well in Colombia. And so this is an example of how partnerships can be leveraged to also leverage technology, and so that we can reach more learners together than either one of us could reach as an individual organization. We're also experimenting with ways to reach learners in areas where students typically have a hard time accessing university courses. And so this is why we delivered recently as another pilot, a college agribusiness course on a device that's called the Solar Spell. And so an ASU faculty member by the name of Dr. Laura Hassman developed the Solar Spell, which stands for Solar Powered Educational Learning Library, and it essentially acts as an offline hotspot. So without connecting to the Wi-Fi, students can be in range of the device, connect to the device's network, like you would connect to a Wi-Fi network, access the content, download that content. They could take it with them on their devices to somewhere else where they might not have Wi-Fi access. And so this is one solution where we feel like if brought to scale, this type of delivery method could be used in areas where there's frequent power outages, where the internet connectivity isn't very good. And so we're hoping that we can reach more communities that are sort of off the grid in this way. And so I just want to close by showing you a video of the Solar Spell, and hopefully it gives you a little bit better idea of how it works and is more clear than I could be explaining it. So here we go.
If you're watching this video, you're connected to the internet. But did you know that over half the world's population has never connected to the internet? That over 90% of schools across the developing world don't have internet access? That's not okay with us. We believe education is a human right and that access to quality information is essential for quality education. That's why, with the help of their students, our co-founders designed a solar-powered digital library. The Solar Spell digital library allows learners to connect to a server using smartphones, tablets, and laptops to freely surf the thousands of open access resources. It's portable enough to fit in your backpack and rugged enough to withstand heat, humidity, dirt, and rain. Use of the Solar Spell libraries requires no internet, no electricity, and no data, yet connects curious minds to a world of information. It looks and feels like you're online, so students can develop information literacy and digital skills even without the internet. Most importantly, we curate localized content so that teachers and students can see themselves in the books and videos on the library. To ensure we have a lasting impact, we maintain close relationships with our communities. For each location, we establish in-field partnerships with local organizations. Our train-the-trainer model empowers local teachers through on-site workshops to return to their communities with the skills and knowledge necessary to sustainably implement this technology. We continuously improve our libraries as community needs are always evolving. Solar Spell provides learners with the knowledge to address the challenges they face. In 3 years, we have brought over 300 Solar Spells to 8 countries around the world. In 3 more years, imagine what impact we can achieve by providing Solar Spell libraries to small-scale farmers improving their crop yields, entrepreneurs bringing their ideas to the market, or refugees starting their next chapter. Libraries can address any topic, any need. The possibilities are endless. The digital divide is currently leaving behind entire generations of learners, but we don't have to wait for the internet and electricity to reach these communities. Solar Spell is already addressing this challenge. We hope you'll join us today as we increase access to quality education around the world.
So thank you for listening, and if you have any questions or want to send me an email afterwards, that's my contact information there. And we're always looking for more Twitter followers, so please have a follow. Thank you.
Muchas gracias.